So welcome. I am Helen Graves, College of the Canyons instructional designer, part-time. Today, you're going to get some experience with using Screencast-o-matic. And my screen changed, so could one of you give me a thumbs up if you are seeing the title slide on my slide deck? I had a little, okay, good. Thanks, Brenda. And thanks, Nobuku. Perfect. All right. So Screencast-o-matic, I love this tool. It's got simple to use screen capture and recording, a suite of tools to help you easily create, edit, and communicate with video. In fact, the studio tool, and I was just talking about this with Nobuku, the studio tool in Canvas uses the Screencast-o-matic interface. So if you've already been using Studio or you plan to, it's going to feel pretty familiar. The first step is I want to walk you through setting up your Screencast-o-matic account if you do not have one yet. Later, I'll have you actually do a short recording so that you have a chance to experiment and ask questions while we're here together. If you've already got your free account, great. If not, you can go register now, and I'm going to put it's screencast-o-matic.com. I put it in the chat. If you don't want to register, you can just watch for now and then get your account and practice later. Either way, although if you want to go through the sign up now, that way we can practice together and you can ask questions as you're learning. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to go to Screencast-o-matic. When you get there, and actually let me show you what it looks like. Here it is. So you're going to go to Screencast-o-matic and excuse me, you're going to see this landing page. You can sign up, it's free. I would actually recommend that you click the try the video editor. That's going to give you a free 30-day trial that will allow you to use the editing tools. If you just sign up for the free version, it only lets you record and you don't get the editing tools. The good thing about if you sign up for the this one, the 30-day trial, they don't ask for credit card information. So you're not going to be charged anything if you forget or anything like that. The only way you'll be charged is at the end of the time. If you decide to upgrade, then you would fill in. But for now, you truly get a free trial for 30 days. So I would recommend doing that. That way you can play around with the editing tools today. Either way, you're going to click the sign up, it's free, or click the 30-day trial and then enter your email. And so let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to put in my email. You may want to, two things, before you click the sign up button or the continue button, depending on which screen you're in, you double check to make sure you typed your email address correctly. It's surprising how often we mistype our email addresses. And then of course you won't get the confirmation email and you won't know why. So just double check the address, and you may want to use the email and password you use for your College of the Canyons instance of Canvas. Here's why. Screencast-o-matic has a Canvas integration that will work right from the rich content editor when you're in Canvas if you use the same login credentials as what you use to log in to your Canvas account. I'll show you a little bit later how that works, but you don't have to use your same College of the Canyons Canvas login credentials, but if you do, it will make that integration work. It's not a problem if you use different login credentials. You'll still be able to get the videos from your Screencast-o-matic account and embed them onto a Canvas page. It just won't be quite as simple as if you've got that integration. But I know for a lot of adjuncts who are working at different schools, you got to pick one thing. So it may not work for you for all of the schools in any case, but it's an option. Once you've entered the email and clicked the sign up or continue, Screencast-o-matic is then going to send you a verification message asking you to confirm your email. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of talking so we can wait for you to get that email. Once you get it, and actually let me show you, because I had one waiting for me so I could show you what it looks like. So you're going to get an email that will look something like this. If I can make the screen, there we go. And it's going to have that confirm button there. So you're going to confirm so that you can then start your free trial. It may take a moment or two to get to you, so just be patient if the email doesn't show up right away. Once it does and you get into your account, actually, let me click that one and I'll see if it. Okay, so I've confirmed my email. And I have to put in my stuff, tell it my name, and then I'm going to make up a password. And then I don't have to click the send me updates, but I do have to click the terms of service. So before you can create the account, it's going to ask you to acknowledge that you agree to the terms of service. I'm not actually going to click because I already have an account. I don't want to set up a second one, but I wanted you to be able to see what it looks like. Once you click the create account, you should then be able to log in, and it looks like this. No, thank you. Okay, so I'm in my account now, and you'll notice, well, let's talk about what you're going to see. This is all the videos that I've created. There's a whole bunch because I've been using it for a number of years. In fact, I have 149. You can see over in the left some quick link menus. I don't use it for screenshots, but you can use it for screenshots or video. You can organize in folders. You can create channels. And then, of course, there's trash. Over here in the upper right, you'll see 3 icons. And if you hover over each one, it will tell you what its function is. The first is the screenshot function. The second is the actual recorder for the video. And then the third one is the editing for the video. The recording application itself is not cloud-based, even though your account is cloud-based. The recording application is not, it's device specific. So the first time you use it, you're going to need to download the application for the recorder to your device. I can't show you that part because it's already installed on my computer. But when you click the, actually, I don't even remember. It may be that when you're on this page, you'll see a button down near the bottom that says download install. If not, you may need to click the launch recorder in order for that to start the installation process, to find that download button. When you click it, it will download to your device, whatever device you're on, and then you would go and locate that file in probably the downloads area, wherever you have things downloaded to by default. On my computer, it goes to a downloads folder, and it will be called install Screencast-o-matic 2.0 or something like that. It's a .dmg file. So once you've done that part, you will then follow whatever steps you normally take to install an application on your PC or your Mac. On my Mac, I just double click it and it does the installation. On a PC, I haven't used one in a while, so I don't remember what it's like. As I said, I can't actually show you that part because the software is already installed on my computer, but it's fairly straightforward. So hopefully you won't have any trouble with it. I'm afraid I am not extremely techie enough to troubleshoot. So if for some reason you experience a glitch in setting up, you're probably going to want to contact Screencast-o-matic for help. You'll still be able to watch what I'm demonstrating, and then you can always come back and watch again once your account is set up. The free version allows you to record and save. There is a paid version, which has the wide array of tools and capabilities for actually editing. And it's actually quite a robust and simple to use editor. It only costs, I think, 20 bucks a year or something. That's why I have it, because it's a very inexpensive way to get recording capabilities and humanize your online course. There is also a Screencast-o-matic app, where you can record and edit and share on an Android. It's not for Apple, only for Android, but I will admit, I don't do much of anything on my phone, so I have not used the app. So I'm not going to be able to answer questions about it, but I wanted you to know it's available if you are a phone person. You're going to need a webcam and a microphone in order to record. I'm on a Mac, so I have both already built into my computer. And if you're using the phone app, you're also going to have the same capabilities. On a PC, you may need to get some kind of outside webcam or mic if you don't already have them installed. After last year with Zoom, probably everyone has them now, but just know you're going to need them in order to record. So let me show you the interface and what you can do. But actually, before I do that, let me pause and see. Nobuku, I know you already had the account. Brenda, were you able to successful in getting your account set up?
Yes, I think so. But okay. I think too that I probably need to just watch today.
Okay, totally up to you. And it's a very small group, so don't worry about asking questions. So I want to make sure you feel confident after you know how often it's theoretical and it makes sense, and then you go away and it's like, wait a minute.
Yes.
So I want to make sure you have a chance to practice if you want to. Okay. So I'm going to show you the interface, and then we'll dive in how to use the tools and then get some hands-on practice. And as I said, I would really love for everybody, whether you're listening or you're here with me live today, to get some actual skill, not just theory, because it all sounds good until you try to go do it later, and then you can't remember what everything that seemed so easy was. So on the landing page, as I mentioned, it will show you the videos that I've already created in descending chronological order. So this was the video I created most recently. And then going down, you could see I have a bunch of other pages that would go to the very first one that I created. When you, now where did it go? They just changed their interface recently. Since the time I made my notes, I think it's okay. So if I go to this little I button next to the word video and I click learn more, it's going to give me a tutorial about Screencast-o-matic in case you want to do that. You also, that used to be I could get to the resource videos from this page, but I'm not seeing it. So let me try from here. Okay. If I go to the main Screencast-o-matic landing page and click on resources, or at least hover over resources, they have a help center. They also have, not surprisingly, a bunch of tutorial videos because they are a video creation software. So when you click that, you'll see they have a whole library of very short, focused video tutorials that will help you with every aspect of it. So if I don't explain it very well today, or it just for whatever reason later you want to remember how to do something, just know you can go to the resources tab, training and tutorials, and then you'll see the whole library of videos that will help you get started. Going back here, we already talked about the menu over here. The two buttons that I use most often are the launch recorder and the edit video, open video editor. As I said, I don't typically do my screenshots here, but you can. So before I go into actual recording and editing, what general questions does anybody have about Screencast-o-matic? And go ahead and feel free to unmute if you'd like to, or put something in the chat.
Well, I wonder if I should even be here because I'm not an instructor and I don't use Canvas for instruction. But at any rate, I just saw editing videos. And so I thought that would be great to learn how to edit videos for the bank. I work with the Basic Needs Center. I thought, oh, we could do great videos for Instagram for students.
Well, you could. Screencast-o-matic is easy. So
okay, then great. Then there you go. Because yeah, I know nothing about. I've never heard of Screencast-o-matic.
Yeah, it tends to appeal to the educational market, although they, everybody, a lot of people use it, but I know it through the educational. So, but it's fairly simple to use. So just hang around if you want and see if it looks like something you might want to try.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so let's look at recording. I'm going to do some things and then I'll give you a chance to try it. So just watch it first. When I click the launch recorder, it now gives me, and hopefully you can see, can you see the zebra lines that's outlining on my desktop what, I
Yes.
can't talk. Yes, good. Okay, so I thought you could. That is the recording space. And if I grab this little icon in the center of it, I can move it to different places on my screen. If I want to just be recording a particular area of something, I can also grab the handles in each corner and make it bigger or smaller or do whatever I want to do. I also have the ability, if I want a standard size, like I want the standard 720 pixel size, because I know I'm going to use it in a PowerPoint or something like that. So you have options for doing default sizes, or you can grab the handles and create a custom size if you want to. What else do I want to say about that?
So you can switch the input, right? I see the screen, webcam, and both.
Yes, yes, I'm going to get to that part. So yeah, so
Okay.
here, when I clicked the recorder, it opened up this essentially settings menu. So I have options before I start recording. And so I have the ability to record the screen. I could just do a webcam so that all that's in the screen is me. Or I could do both, where it is mostly this desktop, but I have a little visual of me in the corner. And I can move that if I want it to be in a different place. You have the ability to move it around. But this is really nice because, especially if you are using it, well, I was going to say in education, but really any place where you're wanting to make sure you're connecting with your audience, it's great for them to be able to see your face for at least the first, 30 seconds or something. So they have that sense of the real person, and then you can go off screen and just show them whatever it is you're going to demonstrate, or, anything like that. But it's really nice to be able to have all three of those options. And I'll show you how you can play around with it while you're recording. So I also have the ability to choose a microphone. So by default, it's set to my MacBook Pro, but I also have a plug-in little microphone, nothing fancy. If you don't have a microphone yet, you can just get this Logitech. I bought it like 15 years ago. It was maybe 20, 25 bucks then, maybe a little more now, but it's good enough. And so I could, if I wanted to use that and be more directional with where I'm speaking, I could highlight that one. And then computer audio. If I were, for some reason, say I was playing a YouTube video as part of my recording, or I wanted people to hear my keystrokes or something like that, I could say record computer sounds, or in my case, I say, no, don't record the computer sounds. And then there's other preferences. Those, I just tend to leave the default, but you have the ability to set some preferences if you're somebody that gets kind of fancy with things. So then I'm back here and I'm ready to record. And I'll just show you very briefly. It's as simple as hitting record. It gives me a countdown so I can get ready. And then it's recording. It's at this point recording both what's inside what now turns red, so it reminds me that I'm actually recording, and then it's showing the little video. But watch what I can do. If I hit pause, I can now change. Let's say I want just, they've already seen my face, and now I just want my desktop to be showing. And I don't know if you guys can see, but it has three little icons. This one indicates full screen. If I go back here, this one with the little tiny filled in rectangle indicates where it's got the small screen and the desktop. And then this last one, which is empty, means it's just the desktop. The confusing thing is when I start recording, it's going to continue where I left off. And it looks like it's still recording this part, but when we stop it and play it back, you can see when I get to this part, it's actually gone. So it's only showing me as the, what would I call it? The director of the video. It's showing me that little camera part, but when you've turned it off, it's not actually recording it. So don't let that throw you for a loop. Okay, so that was as easy as it is to record. I wanted to show you a couple of other things before we get into the editing part, but let me pause again. Has a question come up for anyone?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So if I go back here, I can, what was I going to say? Oh, I know. If I'm in the record option, I have the ability with this little pencil icon to add in shapes and call out boxes and all kinds of things. So let's say I'm doing a demo and I want to have an arrow pointing at something, or I want to put a box outlining something. I can come in and say, okay, there's the box. And why did it not show? Oh, there you go. So then I can just draw the box wherever I want it to be, and it will now record that. I can change the color of it. If I want it to be red, I could draw a different box. I could do text, a speech bubble, or a text area. I could do lines, arrows, freehand. You've got a lot of different options up here. I can erase something if I realize I don't want it. I can change the size as well as the color. So you have a lot of capabilities while you're actually recording. And the trick to remember is you can always pause it. So I can pause, I can get my box all set, and then I can start the recording again and record whatever I want, pause it again, remove the box, start with the next thing. So you have a lot of ability to customize as you're recording. You also can pause because let's say I was on this screen and now I want to go to this screen. Why did you not change? Huh. Never seen it do that before. That's very strange. Interesting. Okay, sorry, I'm having a little moment here because I've never seen it do that before. Anyhow, I can change what I'm viewing and then start the recording again. Once I've finished recording, I can either throw it in the trash if I realize this is not something I want to even bother editing. It's just, you know, not good. So I can throw it in the trash and start over. It'll say, yes, start over. Or I can click done. And if it was just something quick and I'm not worried about editing it for any reason, I can go ahead and save it to my Screencast-o-matic or to my computer desktop or wherever it is I want to be saving the file. Or I can click the editor and actually use the editing tools. Before I show you the editing tools, I want to stop and give you a chance to do a little bit of recording. So here's your first assignment. Go ahead and open up a screen, and it really doesn't matter what it is you're recording. It's just the practice for recording. So open up a screen and launch the recorder so that you have the black zebra area. And maybe play around with, let me get rid of that, play around with the camera function. So you can start with one screen and then maybe try another one later and play around with the size and just play around a little bit and then hit record and maybe just record 10 seconds of something. Now, if you want to record yourself speaking, you're going to have to mute us so that And you may actually have to, somebody told me that it worked for him when he muted Zoom and he was able to record without hearing us. So you can try that. Otherwise, just record without sound so that you don't have to worry about that part. Just 10 seconds or so. And then give me a thumbs up when you've had a chance to just do a quick little practice, turn on the record and then turn it off. I'll take a sip of water while you're doing that.
Right.
Going okay?
I am recording.
Okay. I shouldn't have talked.
That's okay. So I have a question.
Yes.
So whenever I press that like a pencil button on below the
Right.
red,
This one? Uh-huh.
it's gonna pause. So that means it's not recording this portion. Is that correct?
Pause? I don't think so. I think it continued. Well,
Oh, it's continuing recording.
I
Oh,
think
right.
it continues to record. I'm
Yeah,
actually
it's
going to
counting.
show you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's counting the second is
Right. You can see
Yeah.
the number. Yeah, I think it
Okay.
continues to record. So you can either pause it and get everything set up and then start recording, or just record and know that you're going to cut out that part of the video and don't stress about the fact that it's not anything you want, because you'll be able to cut that section out later.
Actually, I got a little confused about this annotation. I really want to have a good annotation sequence.
I'm gonna show you some other tips, and then I'm gonna have you do some of those on your recording, so we'll have a chance to practice with it.
Okay, yeah, let me try just one thing. And
Okay. And Brenda, how you doing? Hopefully okay. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that one because I want to, I know nothing's recorded. Okay.
I'm gonna pause and do this. And it's gonna be here.
So I'm going to open up a little practice that I did earlier today, and let me know when you've finished your annotation task,
Okay.
Nobuku, and we'll go ahead.
All right, I think I'm good.
Not a problem, Brenda. Don't worry about it.
Was it done? I'm just gonna save it. Let's see how it goes.
And you don't have to say you, well, yeah, go ahead and do that. You can always open it again.
Yeah, okay, I'm
Okay.
done. Sorry.
So I have a video that I recorded, and now I want to edit it.
Mhm.
So I had actually already saved it. So I went into my account, you can see here, and I clicked to open it. So it opened it up in the video editor. I have the option to delete it if I realize, oh yeah, I don't actually want this one. Or I can click edit, or I can go ahead and save it to my computer as a video file, or save it to my Screencast-o-matic account. I never upload to YouTube because they may have straightened it out, but early on, it was pretty glitchy and it didn't work very well. So I just got used to either saving it right to my Screencast-o-matic account or to my desktop if I was then going to upload it to YouTube. The ones I tried to send straight to YouTube, just it didn't work, but you could experiment and see if it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to edit it. So I'm going to click edit. And when I do, it opens up the editor. And let me make this a little wider so you can see some more. There we go. You can see a little bit more. So I have some options over here on the right-hand side. If I don't want any sounds from when I was actually recording it. If I was talking to my friend, or you heard me talking and you don't want that on there, you can tick off the narration, and you can now see down here in the timeline, all the audio disappeared. So I could then upload my own audio recording if I wanted to do that separately from the actual screen recording. And sometimes that's the easiest way to do it. But if I had been talking and doing the audio while I was recording, I can leave the narration on. I can also add music. They've got a lot of built-in options. You can also upload your own and import your own music snippets if you want to do that. If I like the idea of the cursor, I can leave it or uncheck it, either way. And the same with the webcam. If I started using the webcam, but now I realize, I don't actually want to be on there, I can check that or deselect that box, and the webcam part goes away. So sometimes I will record with the webcam just because, and then later on, I'll figure out if I want to leave it in or not. So you have the option at both when you're recording, and also you can take it away. You can't add it later, but you can take it away later. And then they have a captions tool. It will do, you can either upload a captions file. It will also do speech to text. It's a fairly good platform for speech to text, depending on how clearly and slowly you speak. If you talk really fast and you kind of maybe mumble or something, it's not going to be that accurate. But if you train yourself to speak fairly slowly, and not really slow, but clearly enunciate, it does pretty well. You will need to go in and add proper punctuation and capitalization. It tries, but it isn't always perfect, so you'll have to check it. The thing to know about Screencast-o-matic captions is they are what's called open captions as opposed to closed captions. Open captions means they're on the screen all the time. So the viewer won't be able to toggle them on and off the way you can in YouTube or other places. So just know that if you use Screencast-o-matic captions, they're going to be open captions, so they'll always be on the screen. Some viewers don't like that. You also need to take into consideration, if you're showing something down at the bottom, it's going to get covered up. So you want to make sure you're factoring into your mental space, where am I showing things, so that it's not going to get blocked by captions. Okay, so now I want to edit. I've got over here all of the tools. So if I'm in the timeline, I can start playing and listening to what's going on. And so let's say, and I wasn't doing any talking, but let's say I realize, okay, I want to cut out the first 5 seconds. So I'm going to put my cursor at the beginning. Why are you not there? I'm going to click the cut option, and this red bar appears, and I can just drag that red area for whatever length of the video that I want to cut. And then when I do that, it automatically snips it off. If I realize, uh-oh, I didn't want to do that, there is a, on my computer, I can just do Command Z. I don't know on a PC, it might be Control Z to undo what I just did. I'm going to show you a few of these and then let you play around. They've got the cut. They have copy. I've never used hide. Well, now I see it's hide the cursor of the webcam, which we also have over here. So you've got that ability in a couple of places. The ones I tend to use most are the cut and the overlay. And I showed you when you're recording, you have the ability to add arrows and highlights and text and everything. You also have the ability to do it here. So you don't have to worry about when you're recording, making sure you're getting the text box or the arrow or anything like that. Just record your desktop and know that you can add those things later during the editing process. I find that easier. I know some people like to do it while they're recording, so you can play around and see which method works best for you. But I've got the ability to add shapes. I can blur If I wanted something to not show, it'll do the whole, I think it does the whole screen. Yeah. And sorry, let me not go to blur. I want to go to this one. So the overlay gives me an arrow option. I can decide, it actually gives me a bunch of shapes, but I want an arrow. So I can click the arrow and then have it go wherever I want. Once I've made it the length I want, it then gives me this menu where I can change the color. I can layer, I can make it less transparent, so change the opacity of it. Once I've done whatever modifications, I can then grab it and move it. So if I didn't get it in exactly the right place, I can move it to where I want to be and then swing it around, do all kinds of things. Same with a box or any of these other shapes. And this gives you, this little 3-dot menu gives you a whole bunch of other shapes. So you have lots of options for things that you can overlay onto the screen recording. Once I've done that, down here, it just gives me a default amount of time that whatever it is I've added will show on the screen. If I don't want it to be on there for that long, I can just grab, why are you not? Today is not working for, okay, here we go. There, when it's blue is when you can edit it, and you can see it has these beginning and ending bars. So I can make it shorter or longer, depending on what I want to do with that. And this is where it fades out. If I decide I don't want it all together, I can just hit the trash can and it'll delete it and I can start over. So what I'm going to have you do right now is on your, actually, no, I'm going to show you one other thing and then I will. And so let's say I don't want this blur. I click that, it turns it blue, and I can do the trash can and it'll get rid of it altogether. So if I've added something that I don't want, when I click on it, it'll turn blue and then I can adjust or edit or do whatever. On this one, I actually changed screens. So I was here on this welcome page and then, where did it go? Then I went to another page. But I want to have a transition. I don't want it to just jump. Let's see if we can figure out where it does it. So I'm here and then it just quickly jumps, and you can also hear my sound, and I don't like that. So I'm going to make the narration go off, and then I'm going to come here where it's this screen, and I'm going to cut, and I'll show you, stop. I'll show you why. Come here. There we go. I'm going to say I want to cut a little bit, because wherever I have a cut, if I come, I don't know if you can see, it's very faint, but there's a little dotted red line right where I made the cut on the video. Once I have done an edit, I can add a transition. So I can put my cursor just in front of that cut part of the video. Mm-hmm. And in the tools, I can say transition. It automatically puts it in for a 1 second. I could do it longer. I could change the type of transition. I tend to just do the default because I'm lazy, so I just go with what it gives me. But now when I play it, it's a much visually smoother thing for your viewer to watch instead of that really fast thing. So generally speaking, cuts and transitions and overlays are the things that I tend to use most. You may be more advanced than me and experiment with other things, but those are the ones I find most useful.
Overlay and transition. Right. I see. Yeah, transition seems pretty good.
Yeah. And so here's what I was mentioning, the cursor. So if I don't want that little thing wherever my cursor was when I was recording, I can just it will remove it. And then if I want to have an arrow or if I want to point something out, I can use the overlay. Because a lot of times I'm waving my mouse around. And so the cursor really isn't very accurate. It's going to make the viewer kind of be schizophrenic. So I tend to turn off my cursor and use the overlay to point out the things I want them to be looking at. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So what questions, before I have you practice a little bit, what questions came up about what I was showing you?
Yeah, I think I just need to know the tool more.
Yeah, just play around with it.
Yeah, and hands-on to actually use it. Otherwise, I don't have any question. Right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what to ask. Right.
That's right.
So what I'm going to have you do is either on the recording you made, or if you want to do a fresh little recording, just practice cutting a little bit of it out and maybe adding a transition and adding an overlay, just so you have a chance to use all three of those tools. And I will pause the recording so that we're not just recording silence, but you can then let me know if you have questions as you're working. And do you have any questions before you start doing that?
Since we are only two
us.
people right now,
right?
Can I just so hold on.
It's pretty straightforward. It takes practice. So as you were saying earlier, now that you've seen it a little bit, what you really are going to want to do is just play around with the tool and get comfortable with it. And the more you use it, obviously, the better you'll get. I really recommend it for instructors, even though a lot of us don't want to be on video. If we're teaching online, it's so important for our students to have that connection and to recognize, yes, my instructor really is a person and I see them and I hear them and, all of that. So we all just have to bite the bullet and get used to doing video. And because you have the capability of, let me go back to where it was, the capability of being, come here, on screen for a little while. You don't have to feel like you're on display the entire time you're doing the video. You can just say, hey, great you're here. Let's do a navigation of my course. And then you go off video and do your navigation. But it just really makes a difference. So I would really applaud you for taking the initiative to start to learn the tool, because I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. And then this is pretty useful tool.
Yeah.
And so I teach chemistry. And often I have to draw things, right? Chemical equations or structures, or show the mass, or particular setup, which is not good for like a typing. I have to write it. And so that's why I want to use document camera. Yeah. And, I do have document camera, but I just wanted to make a good video with document camera so that, and then looks like I will be able to do this, and then put some stuff later on also, so that, I don't have to make again the same thing again and again and again. Right, exactly. You can that's really what's also nice, is you can reuse it. And it even has the free hand drawing. So if you wanted to, if you were good, I'm not good at writing. I'm not good either. And and even with a stylus or anything. Stylus or iPad, it's not the same. So but it's better than nothing. So I think the more you get used to it, but that's great. I think it definitely will be great in the chemistry demonstrations, because you'll be able to really show them, not just try to explain what you're talking about. And that'll be really powerful. Yeah.
And
yeah.
you can even have them record in studio or something. They can record what they're doing as assignment submissions
right.
to show
Yeah.
you they know
I
how to
would
do
love
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put those kind of assignments, those types of assignment too.
Right. Right.
So they
any
do
other-
have the Canvas Studio access because they will have Canvas. So what is the student side can do?
Students, I believe, can just record. They can't store it. They can submit it as part of an assignment if you've enabled it in the course navigation for the course shell. So they have the ability to use it as well, but they can't do the more sophisticated things like I don't think they can add captions. Maybe they can. I'm still new to Studio as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was going to show you one other thing.
Okay.
That I forgot. So let me get out of this. Oh, come on. Why is it not doing? Okay, now I'm going to cancel. I'm going to show you here. So I mentioned there was the integration in Canvas. And so I'm in a page with the editor. And if I go to the little plugin, which is the app icon, in mine, I've already set up the integration. So Screencast-o-matic shows. The first time you may need to add it in the
okay, I can add Screen-o-matic.
Yes. But when you do, I click it and you can see it takes me right into my Screencast-o-matic account. So if I've recorded and edited, I can just say, okay, I want this video. I want it to be medium size. I want the captions on, and then I embed it and it pops it right there for me. I don't have to go into the code. I don't have to do anything.
Oh, wow.
So it's really kind of nice.
Great.
If I don't have the integration, when I'm here in the Screencast-o-matic, I can go to the
three dots,
share, and I can get the embed code, and then I can put it in Canvas. So it does. You don't have to have the integration.
Yeah,
but if you do, it's kind of nice because it makes it real simple.
If I started to have many videos, then that would be nice.
The only trouble is if somebody is teaching at multiple colleges, you can only have one login for Screencast-o-matic, so you won't be able to integrate with all of your college accounts. So you'd have to just pick the main school that you teach at and have that integration, and then the others you would just do an embed.
Yeah, I teach at two schools, but the other one I don't use Canvas, so.
Oh, okay.
They're Blackboard school.
So you might start using video. I mean, and I don't know if there's a integration with Blackboard because I never use Blackboard, but there might be.
I don't know. Yeah, and that school have different editor or video place.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So that I'm not gonna probably use that for.
Any other questions you've thought of about this?
No, I think I learned quite a bit, and probably I need to start making stuff.
Yep. That's your assignment, is to go make a little 2-minute video and practice using the tools, and don't expect it to be perfect. Just,
I made so many imperfect videos. So
haven't we all?
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice because you can do formal, well, not formal, but you can do, I'll use the word formal, ones like lecture or things that you're going to really use over and over, and you'll just, you can also do a quick 30-second announcement video. So maybe you found, there's some chemistry thing happening in the world and you want to share it with you. It's like, you just get on here, you record a 30-second video, you put it in an announcement, and boom, you're done. So it's kind of a lot of uses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's great.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate your time today. I hope you enjoy using the tool. and have fun playing around with it and humanizing your course with video.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Also. All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.